What's going on? What's going on? How are you guys doing, mentors and disciple makers? I'm on my way to the gym, or I'm currently in the parking lot of the gym, and a thought kind of came to my mind that maybe it'd be a good idea to just kind of make a little video that gives a little bit more of an explanation, some of the thoughts behind it. And again, if this isn't enough, I'd love to talk to you guys about it in these past upcoming weeks. I'm gonna have a lot of time as I'm preparing and planning for the semester, and I've really wanted to make sure I kept a lot of time open for our disciple makers as you guys are preparing to work with our servant leaders. And so what I really just want to do is to break this down into three simple levels, so you can really get an understanding of what I'm hoping you will help the servant leaders do. So you saw that the theme is discipleship making communities, DMCs. And I want to break this down in sort of kind of like answering three questions. The first question is, why this? Why are you even asking us to meet with servant leaders? Why discipleship making communities? What's the simple answer to that? And a part of it is that what I found in my time in being the campus director and in my time in working with students is that many students, leaders, or just people of faith or not, hit a lot of a stunt in their growth, hit a lot of a sort of like pause in their growth in college. Now, God is faithful and God continues to move and continues to beckon his will on people's heart. But a lot of people hit a stunt. And part of the reason that I think people hit that stunt is because there's this whole area of what God is asking of us as believers that a lot of people don't naturally tune into. So we kind of tune into avoiding temptation. I hear a lot of talk about devotion. I hear a lot of talk about praying more, getting more in the word, staying strong. I even hear some talk of being an example, which are all great things. But there's this whole other element in the Bible where Jesus commissions us to be intentional about making disciples. And I kind of use this analogy in how I think about it. Suppose that a soldier goes off to the military and to get training. He enlists in the military, and he's in the military for about 3-4 years to get trained to be a soldier. And then war calls, and that soldier goes missing. It turns out that soldier goes AWOL. And so the military goes looking for him, and it turns out that they find him at his house. So, they ask him, man, like, what are you doing? Like, it's time for war. Why are you here at home? And I just want you to imagine how the military respond when the soldier says back to them, oh, I went to go get the training, but now that I got the training, I'm good. So now at home, if anybody tries to rob me, I got all my guns and all the things that the military gave me. You can imagine that the military would be livid with him because, when you go into the military, you don't get trained to defend yourself or your home. You get trained to fight war. You become qualified and able to defend the nation. Right? And that's a similar thing that I'm realizing with a lot of students that I'm really asking you guys' help for. It doesn't really seem like I really want to see our students grow in this idea of more than just I want to be an example. I want my light to shine. But I want people to understand that they're being trained, they're being equipped in their spirits with all the good gifts of God to intentionally reach the lost, to intentionally reach their friends around them. And that kind of moves me into the second point. A discipleship making community is such a powerful concept to me because it helps people bridge away from this idea that winning people to Christ has to look like a church service or a Bible study. For example, I'm going to the gym by myself, but I've been going to the gym with some of my homies who are in very similar situations as our students. They know of God, but they're not really able to really allow God's love and God's will to be more important than their willpower. And in the past, actually, believe it or not, I was trying to hammer in Bible study with those guys, just trying to really like hammer it in, like, man, let's meet, let's Bible study. And even though sometimes they meant well, couldn't really get the guys on the same page. And now what I'm realizing is that a discipleship making community more focuses on this idea of let's meet in any context, right? Let's meet at a gym to play basketball. Let's meet at a restaurant. Let's meet at the mall. Let's meet in our dorm room. I'm good at cutting hair. I'm a music person. I have this skill, and I do this regularly on the campus. This is a little business idea I have. Let's meet in those realms and just have an intentionality to bring up God as it sees fit with the person. I think sometimes it's really intimidating for the lost or for people who don't know God to just feel like, man, I'm going to jump into this church-like setting, when the reality is, what are students already doing with their friends? What are they already doing with the people they care about? Right? And so that's what the goal is. The goal is that I want you to be helping students to realize the church is bigger than just Bible study and the sermon on Sunday, right? When you're asked to disciple someone, when you're asked to start a disciple-making community, you don't have to just go all the way to, oh, I need to be a Bible scholar, I need to prepare a sermon. If that's something they want to do, great. I'm not saying they shouldn't do that either. The last thing, because I got to get ready to get this workout, the last thing is wanting to see them make generational discipleship making communities. It kind of builds on that same principle, right? That like a lot of resources that students need are already available to them. What are these things that they like doing with their friends? And I'm willing to bet that just like my experience with my friends, most students will discover a new level of capability when they see every area as a discipleship moment. Now, I know this can be confusing for people sometimes, but to me, making generations is not about, oh, I'm being intentional to preach everywhere. It's more about this idea that the love of God is shown through the way that I serve and love on the people I am in relationship with. The things that are building relationship with me and students are eating, are sports, are going out to play video games, is looking at what their passions are and kind of helping them and learning a little bit more about what their passions are. If their passions are for business or drawing or what may have you, I'm learning about these things because essentially when we get to that point where this person has found a discipleship making community and is engaging with starting a discipleship making community, what begins to happen is that when it's now asked to replicate, when we ask them to replicate that with their friends, right? And when we ask them to replicate that with their when we ask them to ask their friends, to replicate that, it grows. And so that's the goal. To give you a sense of the strategy from a practical point of view, my goal is to this semester have each leader meeting with one of you guys so that you guys are working together to help them establish a discipleship making community. How you do that, I'd love to give you specific stuff if you'd like specific stuff, but the goal is that you guys are working, you're reading the word together and you're connecting together and you're just helping and encouraging them in their life situation to make disciples. An example of something I generally like to do is read the word with them and then just kind of dive into their situation. What do they have? What are they doing? What are their hobbies? What are them and their friends doing? And how could they use those platforms to be intentional and then just holding them accountable to that? And eventually the hope is that after the end of this semester and after the summer, we can start engaging them with the people that they've been doing discipleship making communities with. How can they start engaging those people to make their own discipleship making communities? How can we see Christ grow through relationship? So that's just a little spiel I wanted to give. I'm about to go get this work. Again, just wanted to give a more elaborate explanation here on this YouTube video. I hope you guys stay safe and are blessed. Talk to you soon.